and it's very exciting. So in the 70s, where we are located now, in the 70s, this mountain on top of West Virginia was turned into a spiritual sanctuary. And from the 70s onwards, there is continuous practice of spiritual life and worshiping of Radha and Vrindavan Chandra here in their temple. They have a really nice retreat center. People from all over the United States, they come here to visit and they spend the weekend. It's a spiritual retreat center. It's really nice because they also have, what do they call them? Is it called hedgehogs? Someone from the US can help me. They call them something hogs.
Groundhog.
Groundhogs, yes. And they're all over the place and they're so cool. They eat what people feed them and they're just really super adorable and fluffy. And they're all over the place. They're not creating a chaos here. So it was very sweet to watch so many groundhogs everywhere. And they have peacocks and deers and swans. So it's a very, very interesting place. So for the next 2 more days, we have deep discussions on Gita and Kirtan and understanding how Gita is applicable to our lives. So that's what's going on here this weekend with the retreat. I would have given you a peek, but everyone is out for breakfast. So I get to sneak away for this call. So this topic of illusion, I have been meditating on it since evening or late last night and this morning. I was thinking how people in this world, because it's related to the Gita, people in this world are on different levels of the unknown. And some are consciously, some are unconsciously, but society in general are somehow or one way or another is subjected to some sort of illusion in this world. And so I wanted to break down those 4 levels of illusion, and you can gauge where you are at. Oh, look, we have Mother Yashoda is here. You can't see her. She just finished breakfast and she's here already. She runs a very beautiful program in Pennsylvania. We're just doing our weekly calls, Sangha calls on Zoom. Please, please, please. Would you like to share something? Okay. So these are just Sangha members from around the world. We just do this once a week. So that's what's going on. So we're going to discuss about the 5 levels of illusion that human beings experience. And, we can have a better understanding of where we are. And if at any point this illusory energy of material world in any way affecting our lives. So the first level of illusion that we want to study is the illusion of tamas. Tamas means ignorance. Sometimes that word is very loosely used in the world. We just say, oh, he's just ignorant. And that may be one of the ways to define a person's character or their state of consciousness. But we're going to get a little deeper into this levels of illusion. So tamas, just generally translated as ignorance, it's more specific to being unaware of one's true self. So when someone is engaged with the material world and they're doing everything that needs to be done in this material world, but within the framework of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These four characteristics is what defines as tamas, or illusion, on the level 1 of this discussion. This tamas means someone who is focused on eating. You may be surprised how much our engagement in this world is dedicated to eating. The industry is massive, and if you go to any stores in the United States, you will notice there is something called the shelf wars. They have war of where they can put their merchandise on the shelf. If it's on the eye level, it's considered to be more prime locations. So all these companies who are in the food industry, in the eating industry, they're competing for their eye level shelf space and want to make sure that our tendency to engage with the taste buds are what their main business and focus is, and to try and expose civilizations to consume their food. So this is the first level of consciousness, right? Eating is called Annamaya Kosha. Sleeping, mating, and defending. If we realize all our actions in this world are primarily focused in these 4 different categories. In Sanskrit, it's called Ahara, Nidra, Haya, and Maithun. If all our activities in this world is engaged with these 4 aspects of life and nothing beyond it, you don't think anything beyond eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. You don't even ask questions beyond these 4 aspects of life. That means we are induced by the energy of illusion, illusory energy called tamas. And the symptoms of this is that when we are engaged with just these 4, what happens is there will be laziness you'll experience in your life. There will be confusion, if you're ever confused in your life. There's fear. And primarily what you will notice is that you're living your life keeping in mind that the body is the center of your existence. So this is what tamas is defined as. So this is a very interesting level of illusion that we operate under. I'll give you a small story. This is a story from Panchatantra and Hito Upadesha. So this is a story that has a very interesting moral principle that we can learn. Everyone's coming in. I think our session begins at what time? 9 o'clock?
Yeah, just here for your Zoom class.
Oh, what time does the retreat begin? 10 o'clock. Oh, perfect. So there are people showing up for hearing the Zoom discussion. So the story is of a turtle and swans living in this idyllic place filled with lotus flowers. Here also, we are here in New Vrindavan. They have two beautiful swans. They're so graceful. Swans are known to be extremely gorgeous and graceful and peaceful creatures, and they're always seeking nectar. So they hang around lotus ponds. So in this lotus pond also lived a turtle. And as we all know, sometimes as seasons go by, then the water gets dry. And so this swan and the turtles, the swans and the turtle, they built a friendship. And their friendship enabled them to try and see how they could coexist. So the swan and the turtle, they decided that we will help this turtle move away from this dry pond. Because if you leave this turtle in this dry lake, there will be no food and this turtle will starve. And maybe it will end up dead. So then they created an agreement between the swans and the turtle that we will carry you from this lake to another lake far away where there is water and there will be plenty of fish and you'll be okay and we will also be okay. So when they made this decision together as friends, the swans, they gave the turtle a warning. He said, when we go, please be careful. We will carry you there. We will carry a stick and you bite onto the stick and both of us on two sides, we will hold the sticks with our beaks and we will fly you there. But it's very important when you bite onto the stick that you must not open your mouth. You must not say anything. You must be quiet. So the turtle said, no problems. It's an easy task. So they took off and they were flying. And some villagers, as they were flying, they noticed this very intriguing phenomenon. The swans had the stick in their beaks, and there was a turtle with his mouth bit onto this middle of the stick, and they were flying the turtle. So everyone was talking about it. And this turtle thought, my God, they're talking about me and how funny this whole thing looks. And they were critiquing what they were seeing. The turtle decided to reply back. Reply back to the commotion, all these animals flying with them and villagers down there. They thought this was a very funny spectacle. And since they were saying and describing this spectacle, the turtle thought, I should chime in and have a say in it. And he opens his mouth to speak. What happens? He falls down to the ground. And that was the end of the turtle. So the moral of the story from Panchatantra is that we in the world always feel that we have a need to speak. We have the need to say. We have a need to reply back and make a statement. Because our value, when it is based on these four principles of existence, eating, sleeping, cohabiting, and defending. So because we're operating on this platform, then we always have the need to defend that territory. And when we do that, this is what happens. So this is an example of someone operating in the mode of ignorance, tamas, operating on the principle of this four aspects of life. So the second level of confusion, second level of illusion is called moha. M-O-H-A, moha in Sanskrit. Moha means delusion. So this is interesting because it is deeper than tamas, it's deeper than ignorance. Because moha means mistaken identity. That we have a tendency to falsely identify ourselves as something that we are not. First of all, we have identified with these four aspects of life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And this one is you identify with designations, labels, your race, and you connect everything in this world to the possessions and accolades that we acquire in this life. And we identify so deeply with that. I remember when I first moved to the US, and there was something called a fender bender, and I didn't know what it was. I was driving and I hit the front of someone's car. There was no scratch or anything on that car, but I stopped and this person stopped, and they came out and they were extremely angry. And the first thing this person told me is, "Why did you hit me?" The question was not, "Why did you hit the car?" "Why did you hit me?" And I thought it was interesting. And I said, "Ma'am, I did not hit you. I hit your car." And she kept repeating, saying that you hit me. And I said, "Ma'am, I didn't hit you. I hit your car." And we went back and forth. She kept saying I hit her, and I kept saying, "No, I bumped into your car." So we're speaking two different languages. So this identification that we have with things and possessions and our identities is quite a quite a delusion that we live in. Because when we identify with things and designations connected to this body, then we naturally become extremely sensitive and delusional, and we become very, very defensive. You'll notice, God forbid someone says something about your children, it's a war. If someone says something about your hair, it's a war. If someone says something about your weight, it's a war. It's very common in India, where I grew up, if we put on a few extra pounds, they used to tell me, "Veda, you became fat." And I would look at myself and I would say, "Yes, I think maybe I became a little fat." And it's not something that people take very seriously. But in different parts of the world, sometimes our moha, our mistaken identity, is so deeply rooted that we become very easily disturbed, and we become very defensive of ourselves, this mistaken identity, even though it has nothing to do with the real self. So there is a story in the Panchatantra. Panchatantra is a book of stories that teaches you morality and ethics. So there they have a story of a crocodile and a monkey. So this crocodile and his family, his wife and his children, they used to live in this lake. On the bank of this lake was this beautiful tree where there's delicious fruits, filled with delicious fruits. And this monkey used to live on this tree. And the monkey noticed that this tree has so many fruits. So he wanted to share and started to share these fruits with this crocodile. So he would shake the tree and he would and he would offer the crocodile in the lake all these delicious fruits. So this monkey and crocodile, they created this deep bond of friendship, coexisting. You will notice very interesting phenomenon in the world. Nature, living creatures in nature, they are very, very unique in their ability to coexist with one another. I remember even watching National Geographic videos, how these little birds used to come and peck the what is it called? Ticks from the bodies of the deers and other four-legged creatures. And the deers would actually just stand still without any motion so that the birds could give them a nice little treatment. So in this way, nature has their way to coexist. So this crocodile family and this monkey, they figured out a beautiful way to coexist. So one day, the wife of this crocodile, she was thinking, this monkey would be a nice feast, especially this heart of this monkey. They like, a lot of blood. So she devised a plan and she asked her husband, can you please tell this monkey, the monkey trusts you, you both have a great relationship. Can you please tell this monkey that on the other side, there's a lot more fruits and that you will give him a ride to the other side of the lake and, there will be a bigger party. But the intention was to put the monkey on the back and then drown the monkey and then eat it. That's what his lady's plan was, his wife's plan. So the monkey agreed. This is a great plan. More food and this exchange in friendship. So this monkey got on the back of this crocodile and they started to go to the other side. So the friendship was pretty deep. So he was hesitating. Should I drown this monkey now? And I was having a little discussion about the fruits on the other tree. All of a sudden, the wife crocodile came close and he noticed there was a plan that he was about to get devoured. And the minute they started to get close enough for the crocodile to launch at this monkey realized the plan. It was too close to the shore and he took off. So, what's the moral of this story? The moral of this story is this principle of moha, mistaken identity. Mistaken identity, when we do not know who we are and we identify with something that we are not, then the relationships that build from that platform also become a relationship. Relationships in this world, they remain not very deep. It remains somewhat shallow. And what happens is we end up seeing how we can take advantage of others. If you notice the relationships in this world, parents, when they have children, even though it's such a pure relationship, it's the purest that we can find in this world. But still, the parents have some expectations from their children. Because why? Because I'm your parent. Friendships, you notice in this world, if the identity is mistaken and the relationship is founded on that, those relationships don't last. Those relationships tend to fall apart and will always remain alone and lonely in this world. So this is the principle of moha, when we are in this level of illusion, where we identify with things and designations, it becomes a very lonely place because the motive is not clear. The very foundation is not clear. You may notice when you become rich, you'll have rich friends or people that want to be friends because you have wealth. Are they your real friends? So all relationships in this world, when it is based on these first two levels of our consciousness, tamas and moha, mistaken identity, then things are not well-founded in our lives. We'll have definite struggles. So the third level of illusion is called maha moha. Maha means great, moha means delusion. So this mistaken identity becomes an obsessive identity. Your identity that you have, that mistaken identity, it becomes obsessive. Obsessive that you will do everything in this world to maintain that maha moha, that deep-seated mistaken identity. And you will actually deceive others because of your own delusional obsession with your mistaken identity. And that is a very interesting aspect of illusion because we become obsessed with what others think of us. You may notice in your life that sometimes there may be moments in your life where you're always thinking, I want to dress like this because I want this person to think like this of me. I want to be in this place because this will give me a certain status. So this obsession with what others think of us, it completely blinds you from your truth, and it takes you further and further away. So this becomes a very, very dark place to live in, And there are many, many beautiful stories to show this dark obsession. For example, I'll give you a small story from Panchatantra. This was a simple Brahmana living in a village. And this simple Brahmana, after they do their rituals at different homes, people give them different gifts. So one day he got a gift of a goat. People take goats, take milk. So they give him a gift as a goat, of a goat. And he was carrying this goat on his shoulder as a gift. But this 4 thieves, as he was walking through his village to the other village, then these 4 thieves, they came up with a plan. They all came and they started to walk with him, and they started to tell him a very interesting story of deception. They befriended him, and after they befriended him, they wanted to, their intention was actually what was on his shoulder. They wanted the goat so they could have a feast. And so they devised a plan. And in that plan, all 4 of them, they presented arguments to say that what he was carrying on his shoulder is actually not a goat, but it was a jackal. And that this jackal was an evil jackal, that when he takes the jackal home, that this jackal would actually eat him. And so this whole path, they're talking with him and they're talking about what he's carrying on his shoulder, but he wasn't looking. He was carrying on his shoulder, and they convinced him that this sheep that they were carrying on his shoulder was actually a jackal. So much so, one of them said, "This is not a jackal. They cheated you. This is actually a dog." And then the third one said, "How can you carry this on your shoulder? What you're carrying is a dead yogi." So all four of them played various different mind games with this poor Brahmana, this poor mendicant. And at the end of this journey, they were so convinced, and he actually dropped this goat and he ran for his life. So this was a story that depicts how when we have a mistaken identity, then that goes so deep. It goes so deep into our psyche that we are, even this Brahmana, he is confused by these four thieves who had ill intentions. And he was completely blinded by their stories that he gave up his own reality. And why? Because he was worried about what this other people think about him, because they were denigrating him and they were disgracing him. And how could you do this? You're supposed to be this pure person. And he became subjected to their ploy. So in this way, we see many times people in our lives will try to mold us in ways, and we do not know what the intention behind it is. And so we get caught in this world of our identity being defined by others. Has anyone ever experienced that? You can ask yourself if our identities are being defined by others. So this fourth one, yes, Anilji has a question. Yes. So Anilji is making a point. Yeah, Anilji, make your point so everyone can hear you.
That others define your identity. But is that how we all live?
In some ways, we do, but the moral of the story is that when you are aware that people may be doing these things against you, then you be more careful and keep your confidence like that Brahmin that was a goat given to me. They are trying to cheat me. I'm going to stick its goat and not be swayed. So in everyday life, what I have seen, like Anilji said, that we are driven by people. Somebody may come and say, "Hey, Sunitaji, you are very good and you are doing these things, we like it." And they may kind of prop you too much. And you may get swayed and think that you are the best, and then you get, swollen head. So that's a risk. On the other hand, there may be somebody who may come and say, "I didn't like the way you did these things to me, and even though, I may have done a reasonable job, but I get very discouraged by their comment, but they are playing this Mahamoha game, which is Sarvavya, it's there." So when we hear stories, I mean, this is my take on it, then it reinforces that this place constantly going on in the world, like you are saying. But you have
That drives us to come here
then
and seek
Yeah.
remedy.
yes, and that is the remedy.
So everyone online, they cannot hear us. So I'll just finish the 5 illusions that we're discussing about, and then we'll come back. So the 4th one is called Tamishra. Tamishra. Tamishra means you're angry at your reality. You may notice you're angry that God made you be born in a certain country, in a certain family, or certain looks. So you're angry at your destiny. This is another illusion that we have. And it's quite fascinating, you'll notice. Everyone in this world will have something they do not like about themselves. And what they do is when they don't like that, they become angry at the Creator. It's God's fault. Why did you put me in this family? Why did you make me only, like when I was a kid, I wanted to be 6 foot tall. Sorry, 6'2". That was my desired height, because I was a short kid and I used to actually pray to God, please, God, make me tall, make me 6'2", to be exact. You don't even have to think about it. I'm telling you exactly what I need. Please help me out. So as a kid, I used to pray like this. And I used to be very upset that God made me so short. So, little kids, we have our own issues. So I was not very happy with my height. So I used to be angry with God that God made me short and it was not fair because my friend was taller than me. And it's just not fair. God is just not fair. So this emotion of being angry with one's destiny is quite a toxic emotion that we have in our system, and it can be very destructive because it'll destroy you. And there's a beautiful story to illustrate this in the Panchatantra as well. The story of the lion who was the king of the jungle. This lion was so ferocious that would hunt at will. And often, because it was just so strong and just aggressive, would hunt more than it needed. Can you imagine? I used to always say that only human beings can eat when they're not hungry. Because nature, they eat only when they're hungry. Human beings can eat all the time, even when they're not hungry. So this lion had this tendency, would kill animals even though it was not hungry and it didn't need to eat. So what happens? This one little rabbit thought, this is too much. They all had a meeting. They all realized this is just too much. This guy is just killing and just piling up all this dead animals, even though it's not needed. So they devised a plan. So this rabbit had approached, after a big meal, the lion was laying down and this rabbit approached the lion and says, "Oh, king, it seems like, there's plenty of food for you and there's so much abundance for you. You are so great. You are so strong." And this rabbit glorified this lion, and this lion was feeling so happy, so excited that someone was glorifying its glories. He says, "But, O king, I have noticed that there is another person, another lion who's come into this area and is claiming to be the king of your territory." So this lion thought, "Oh my God, who dares to come into my territory? I'm going to take him out." So this lion immediately got very angry. How dare someone come into my territory? So he told the rabbit, "Please take me. show me where this other lion that has come into this forest to claim my territory and to claim dominance because I am the king here. So this rabbit said, please, my dear king, let me take you. So this king lion followed this little rabbit, and they went and they went. And this rabbit took this lion to this crystal clear pond. So clear that you could see a reflection in its most pristine detail. And he said, look in that lake. The lion is there, and he is waiting to take over this kingdom. And this lion looks over this rock, and he sees his massive reflection in the water. And he sees his big mane, and when he roars, the lion in the reflection also roars, and he's not backing down. And the lion in the reflection is also not backing down. And what does he do? He charges and he attacks this lion in the water, and this lion ends up drowning himself. And this was the end of this great king. How dare someone in this world is going to take my position? I am the greatest. There can no one be greater than me. So being angry at his own reality, he plunges into this deep lake, and there is no end, and his life is over. So the moral of the story is that anger and envy, you're comparing and being envious, and you're angry with destiny. Why did God make me like this? And what that does, it blinds you so deeply that you forget the fragility of life, and it causes self-destruction. So this is an illusion that the sages are saying we have to be careful about. To receive and accept whoever we are, whatever we are, it's such a beautiful thing. And to be unhappy and challenge God and challenge our destiny, to try and change who we are and what we are, where we are, it only destroys the self, and no one else is ever destroyed in that process. So this is illusion number 4. And the final illusion, we have a few minutes to finish this, is called Andha Tamishra. So you are blinded by darkness. So you're in denial. Even when you're when it's pointed out to you, you're still in denial of that you're in darkness. So people are generally sometimes not interested in anyone telling them that there is an eternal life. This is not the only life. You should focus on something beyond this life. And we refuse to see the truth, and that there is something very deep within ourselves that is beyond the covering. And this we have seen in the case of this great king Dhritarashtra. He was so blinded. His son was committing so many abominable activities. He was just so blinded, and he was in complete denial. Complete denial till the very last end of his life. So this is what happens in our lives. That when we are given an opportunity to come out of illusion, we should at least inquire the first level of ignorance, the first level of illusion. At least inquire beyond the the temporary existence of eating, sleeping, ahara, nidra, and bhai and maithun, beyond the four functioning material levels of consciousness. So this is what the sages are saying, that it begins with Shravana, Kirtana, and Sangha. Shravana means that we must hear. We must at least give ourselves the opportunity and a chance to hear what another person has to say. They may have something of substance. They may have something of value. This is what the sages are recommending. Because self-obsession, self-denial, these are not the pathway out of darkness, out of illusion. The path is to give an honest hearing, whoever, wherever it may come from. Sometimes the truth not necessarily has to come from some self-illuminated personality or being. It can come from a little child. It can come from other creatures. So wherever the truth comes, the material world is designed to present us with various degrees of truth. And our ability to receive that and our ability to engage our intelligence with that truth will take us out of this level of illusion or ignorance. So this was first recommendation by the sages, that we must listen. And then the second recommendation given by the sages is kirtanam, which means once we hear, then we must engage with it. Say someone tells us that there's a beautiful, delicious feast. If you go there, you can address your hunger. We heard it, we have explored it, we know how to get there. Then we must take an actual step towards where the food is being served. So a practical step in engaging in elevating one's consciousness is called kirtana, Shravana Kirtana. And the third level, it explains that we must do it in the Sangha. If you try to go there by yourself, you may get distracted. So you must try to engage with others so you can support each other in that journey. So this is the recommendation the sages have given to deal with illusion in this world. Number one is to hear. And number two is kirtan, to actually explore what is the real substance there. Go there and engage with it. And the third level is to do it with others. Sangha. So this is the recommendation of the sages. Our time, we have 3 more minutes. Would anybody like to add anything or clarify anything? There's more stories to be told, but I wanted to make sure that... Yes. Yes.
First of all, thank you for such a meaningful discourse, very practical also. So there is a temple in our Payton where I go for worship.
Everyone online is listening to you from all over the world.
Oh my goodness. So what I started to do is, our priest says that on every Sunday we have Balaji Abhishekam, that people come from neighboring states, maybe they travel 50, 100 miles, that it will be nice to have prasadam, like a meal, like a lunch meal. So I noticed in the last 6 months, I took it upon myself that every Sunday we will serve lunch prasadam. And it brought so many people together, and they started asking, where do you bring the food? Can we also bring? And they bring, they share, and it's a group like Sangam. There is Shravan, there is Kirtana, and there is one more thing I started to say is when we stand up to do Aarti, I say, everyone sing. So when they have words, but they're not coming out of their mouth, they are coming. Because some don't know Hindi, our Aarti is Sondhya Jagdish, but they made an attempt. They are hearing it because it's played and they're singing along. So there is so much vibrant energy. So my point is that the things that you have said, I found them that they are very effective, they work, they are the very wholesome principles. And
Thank you, Sunita ji. So just a quick reiteration of what she just shared was, she has opened up a temple where she's at. She goes to the temple and she practices Shravan Kirtan with a group. It started off small and now everyone is engaged together, cooking and chanting and dancing. And she has a very beautiful community where she is at. So, the final word on this topic of how to diagnose yourself with what level of illusion that you live in, or what degree, if you at all are somehow engaged with any one of these 5 levels of illusion. The secret is Shravan, Kirtan, and Sangha. That you must try to cultivate receptivity to whatever truth and knowledge is being offered and guidance is being offered by God through this universe. And number 2 is to really dive deep and explore and get into it and do it as a group so that you don't get lost. So these are the 3 important steps to dealing with illusion. So thank you all so much from all over the world. I'm so grateful to be with all of you every Saturday. I didn't get to meditate too deeply on this topic. Others, I would have even narrowed down some more points. And it's so nice to be with all of you and everybody here. Let's see. Everyone's still trickling in. You can see them. Everyone's still coming in. And I don't know if anyone can see everybody. You can see everybody who's online. So thank you all very much. Namaste, everyone, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Haribol, everyone.
Haribol.